Okay, in the tutorial for today, I'm going to take a look at another essay, another student essay, and this time we're going to look at discuss both views and give you an opinion for question type. Okay, so we'll take a look at a possible structure at first, and then we'll make a comparison. And then we'll take a look at an essay that I just wrote to answer this particular question. So, as you know, the discussion structure is very similar to what extent. You typically have 4 paragraphs with around 12 to 14 sentences. The difference really is, and obviously this depends on how it's worded, in the to what extent essay type, you don't have to consider both sides. You only need to say if you agree or not and give 2 reasons why you do or don't. For this discussion question type, we have to look at both, and we have to give an opinion also. So the first type is subjective, whilst this discuss both views is objective. It's basically an inversion of the to what extent. You can put your opinion in the introduction, or you can put it in the conclusion. It doesn't really matter which. Some people put it at the conclusion, so they say, okay, here's one view, here's a second view. Having considered both of these views, my opinion is blah blah blah. Doesn't make a lot of difference really, just so long as you have a clearly expressed opinion and you discuss both of the viewpoints. So let's have a look at the question. Let's see what we've got. So, okay. Some parents think that childcare centres provide the best services for children of preschool age. Other working parents think that family members such as grandparents will be better carers for their kids. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Okay, so introduction then. We need to paraphrase the question or state both views. Opinion, what we're going to be talking about in the essay. So let's have a look. Just make this a little bit larger. Okay. It is argued that childcare institutions render excellent and quality methods in building child's life, or a child's life, or children's lives. Okay, building a child's life. Or something that close family members play a pivotal role in honing child's or children's, because we're talking about children as an abstract noun. Children's development. Now you've got to be careful when you paraphrase and use a synonym. You're supposed to do this. You paraphrase the topic, the question, but not every synonym is identical. Not every paraphrase is interchangeable. Some things just don't quite work out. So instead of now I know, some people try and virtually change and paraphrase every single word. Think, oh, I've got a paraphrase, and they're thinking of all these different phrases and synonyms, which most of the time don't actually work, and you'll be losing marks instead of gaining marks. So childcare institutions, that's good. Centres, institutions. Render, well, render's a bit, don't know, render provides excellent and quality methods. So you don't really need all this stuff. Best services is not quite the same as excellent and quality methods. Best services or better services or a better service. So what you can do is change the form of the keywords. Okay, so instead of services, it could be service. Instead of the best, it could be a better service. Provides instead of a provide, or make it a noun, a provision. Some parents think that the best childcare provision or services is from childcare centres. So you can change the form of the key words. There's no need to have a completely different word as a synonym. Okay. In building a child's life, well, again, that's rather overblown phrase. I know, in building a child's life. Well, something that customers play a pivotal role in honing children's development. Well, that doesn't mean quite the same as grandparents will be better carers for their kids. It's the same. I mean, a pivotal role, a key role. Well, yeah, but it doesn't actually say that they will play a pivotal role. A pivot turns one way or another. It can either be good or bad. All it's saying is that grandparents will be better in honing children's development. Well, again, it's just talking about better carers. So it's not too bad, but with some authors, they have a tendency to think, right, I must put as many complicated and complex words and phrases in as possible because that'll get me a better score. But if it doesn't quite work, if it's not natural, if it looks like it's forced, like people have been trying to stuff a sentence with as many complicated words as possible, you're going to be losing marks, not actually gaining them. So you need to be careful. Okay, the essay will first present the merits of family members. That's good. It will tackle different approaches and strategies used by professionals in child development or children's development, followed by a reasoned conclusion. So that introduction is not too bad. Okay. Parents nowadays engage themselves in a full-time job. Nowadays engage themselves. Why is it past tense? Engage themselves or are working. Well, you don't engage yourself in a job, really, do you? I'm not sure if that's a correct verb. Parents often find parents these days often work full-time or often work in a full-time job. Okay. Because they're most intensively with their children at home with their grandparents. It's basically a trust and rapport issues, or surely it's just one. A trust and rapport issue due to the fact that working parents are more comfortable, and at the same time they can attain optimum concentration at work without any second thoughts that the child might be in harm or in danger. Bit of a long sentence, but okay, it's not bad. However, preschoolers who gained regular contacts and frequent exposure to older people may forbid them to acquire. Forbid them? Are you sure? Forbid is when something is not allowed. May prevent them, maybe, that might be a better word, may prevent them from acquiring, maybe, specific skills and abilities at a developmental age. One of the well-known national magazines, because it's an abstract noun, in my country posted a certain research result: 30% of children spend much time dealing with grandparents, less effective and slow in process. These geriatrics, that's not very kind. So you've got a couple of different things here. Now, a structure that we could use, right? So you state the first view, explain it, give an example, conclusion, extend example. You don't need to look at opposite views, pros and cons in a single sentence. In a single paragraph. So, the a view is grandparents will be better. So that's all that you need to basically talk about. The view that they are better. Why are they better? You know? Grandparents are better, they're better because, for example, conclusion. What this essay does here, so you've got a couple of sentences that says that leaving kids with grandparents is great. The parent, just working parents are comfortable, but it doesn't really say, right, well, grandparents will be better carers. Why are they better? That's the question. Other working parents think that family members, such as grandparents, will be better. Why do they think that grandparents will be better? So this basically, just like restates what we know. So it's not really adding anything. So basically, a trust and rapport, working parents are more comfortable. Okay, but again, why do they think grandparents are better? It doesn't say. What it does say is that leaving kids with your grandparents might be a bad idea because it's going to make them stupid, which is not very nice and possibly not true either. So in terms of, does this answer the question? Does it discuss the view that grandparents will be better? Not exactly. What it does do, it says, some parents like to leave the kids with the grandparents because it makes them feel good, but then it says that if you do leave your kids with your parents, with their grandparents, it's a bad idea because it's going to make them stupid. So, the logic in that paragraph is not quite there, Now, okay, so the second view is childcare centres are better. Okay, so why are they better? I mean, childcare centres are better. They're better because, here's an example of why they're better. So let's have a look. On the other hand, child experts who worked or work, because it's talking about, now, let's portray or maybe play a significant role in the process of children becoming what? Children becoming what exactly? They have to become something. We need a noun after this. Becoming what? Older? Becoming adult? I don't know, but we need some kind of a noun after this. These professionals are equipped with proper knowledge, skills, and attitudes that could foster and enhance child's progress and development. Now, that is good. Application of different approaches and methodologies to grow most vital and appropriate for their development milestone. Now, yeah, good. Care and ideas to each individuals are guided by its theoretical. Yes, it looks like developmental milestone, theoretical and practical applications. Okay, in addition, the delivery of care and ideas to these young individuals are guided by its theoretical and practical application. Well, isn't that basically the same as this previous sentence? It's pretty similar, the application of different approaches and methodologies are guided by its theoretical and practical applications. So you've got two sentences that are pretty similar. So you would probably lose a few marks there in terms of repetition if you're the. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Official table. Let's have a look. Repetitive. Some main ideas, but they may be repetitive irrelevant, or not well supported. So you've got to be careful there. Got to be careful. Irrelevant, repetitive. So we need to be careful there. So now an example. One prime example is my nephew who constantly performed well in their classroom, despite the fact that her parents are fully employed. This sad bent was possible. We have personal tutor is not the same as childcare centre. Not the same thing. So you've got some good ideas in this. Well, there are some. So child experts are professionals, they've got proper knowledge, skills, okay. But we've got a bit of repetition, and the example seems to be irrelevant. Perform well in the classroom. Well, a classroom is not a childcare centre. This is for preschool age, you know, so it's not kids at school, it's of preschool age. And a personal tutor, so this example is basically irrelevant. And, you know, irrelevant, well, we can see what happens when you use irrelevant details. We can see what happens. So let's have another look. So what's the conclusion? In conclusion, alarming issues. What alarming issues? What alarming issues? You don't mention that. There's no mention of alarming issues in the rest of it. So if you're not supposed to be introducing new ideas. So, the progress and development of children were prominent and evident if a cared institution helped them foster. So, conclusion, what you're supposed to basically do is, you know, restate what you've said and express your opinion. So, yeah, so it's not too bad, but, you know, there's a in terms of ideas, organisation, there's a bit of grammar, a bit of a vocab. But in terms of cohesion, coherence and task achievement, this will be falling down a little bit. Because we don't have that logic, this leads to this, leads to this, leads to that. Irrelevant details, we've got repetition, you know, so... repetition, irrelevance, repetitive, no clear progression, you know. So I don't want to be overly harsh, but, you know, according to the criteria, you wouldn't get a very good score for that one. Now, I did write an example. I'm not claiming that this is perfect because I took about 10 minutes to write it, which is not ideal, but it was just to give you an example. So the question's the same. Childcare or grandparents, which is better? Discuss both views, give your opinion. So sentence 1, you restate the topic. It is believed by some. Now you can see how I've paraphrased this. I've changed the word order around, and I've changed a couple of forms of the words. So it is believed by some working parents, so I've taken that and put that at the start, that the best way to care for preschool children, you know, is to take them to childcare centres. Well, others argue that the child's relatives, especially grandparents, would be better carers. So you can see that I've changed some of the key words, and I've changed the word order around. Instead of trying to put overly complicated synonym and paraphrase, which doesn't quite work. I've just changed the word order, and I've changed a couple of key words from, from like a noun to an adjective to a verb, etc. This essay believes that professional carers are the best option, so that's my opinion, and I'm going to discuss both views for coming to a reasoned conclusion. Okay, so view number one, childcare centres. Okay, the merits of attending childcare centres are twofold. Firstly, if children attend such a centre under the supervision of well-trained professionals. So this is the same idea that we have in the previous essay. Professionals, they've got knowledge and skills, etc. A second reason, also at the centre, the youngsters will be in the company of other children and can make friends and learn, play in a social atmosphere. Now, maybe I shouldn't have included that. I wrote this pretty quickly just to give you an example, but my example here, and I've got no idea if this is true, it could be, you can invent examples, no one is going to check. For example, all carers and care assistants in the UK have to pass rigorous screening and training programs in subjects such as first aid and teaching in child psychology. This training is designed to create a safe and protective environment for the children. So, if they attend a centre under the supervision of well-trained people, they've got some friends too they can play with. All carers have to pass rigorous training in subjects such as first aid. It's designed to create a safe and protective environment. So, that's the structure. What's your viewpoint? Explain it. Example. A conclusion. So for the next paragraph, it's basically the same. So we have to look at the opposite view now, which is that grandparents are better. So why is it better? However, some parents think that relatives rather than strangers are the best people to trust their children with. Right? They say that the bond of a grandchild and grandparent is a natural one that no stranger can replicate. Now, I was struggling with examples, so I understand how it works. So I made this up, and I think it fits. For example, research by the University of Manchester suggests that a child who is cared for by family members is 80% less likely to have anxiety-related issues at primary school. Now, this could be a load of bollocks, I don't know, but it does fit. It's a specific example, and it sounds plausible. It's not a fucking really stupid example. It's reasonable. Okay, so this would suggest that a safe and familiar family environment is of prime importance in a child's psychology. So relatives are better. It's a natural bond that no stranger can replicate. For example, this safe and family environment means that children are less likely to have anxiety issues, etc. Okay, so in conclusion, although both views have a merit, it could be argued that the twin advantages, being watched over by trained professionals and the obvious social benefits of learning and playing with other children, are of more importance than the psychological comfort grandparents can provide. So that's not too. I'm not claiming that this is the best example. I wrote it under pressure, same as people that are taking the exam do. So it isn't perfect, no, but it's got a logic. It's a flows. It's got a progression. This leads to this, leads to this, leads to that. Okay, so That's not bad, I don't think. So I think there's 12 sentences, 12 sentences. It's about 304 words for paragraphs, so that's not bad. Okay, so I'm going to put the files that you see here with the permission of the author of this first essay. I'm going to put these files on my blog, and I'll post this video there too, so you can read these, you can download these and copy them. And if you've got any questions, this is my email. You can send me a message at any time. If you have any questions, if you've got any essays that you want me to comment on, I shall do so. So again, I don't want to really give a score for this essay. You know, I shall respond to the author in private, but as you can see, there's some things such as task achievement and cohesion and coherence that probably wouldn't get a very high mark. The grammar's not too bad, vocab's better, so you know, you could be kind of 6, maybe 6.5, but in terms of cohesion and task achievement, not so good. Okay, that's it. Any questions, send me a message.